Welcome to ES Planetary News. I'm Lisa Renee, your Ascension guide. Recalibration. Dear Ascending Family, the process of externalization of the crystal star frequency into matter as its mathematical proportions come into alignment with our core planet architecture has begun. Our body consciousness is experiencing displaced time as we are very slowly folding into the upward spiral that is created when the time membranes dissolve. These time membranes are levels of the blueprint in the planetary architecture that exist within the multiple dimensional layers and are synonymous with time and space. They are membranes that have kept energy separate in dimensional containers, which are also timelines, many of which are dissolving into non-differentiated energy units back into the planetary body essence. This means that certain time and space containers, which include past or future timelines, are ceasing to exist as they did before. This is the meaning behind the funeral phrase, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. As time and space cease to exist as we have known it in the past, this may have many different impacts on your body, mind, and spirit consciousness. The implication and impact to our multidimensional bodies are vast, and this requires that we undergo a recalibration process to be in alignment with our inner source presence. This also is a recalibration process that is required within the planetary body itself, as well as the interface of our energetic relationship to the planetary body. Every being will have a unique transition with that occurrence, and the waves of this recalibration process have begun for many of us now. The recalibration occurrence for the planetary body is in proportion to the crystal current energetic flow held within the crystal frequencies and its buffer field. These are the Krystal Star Spires and its network that was placed into the planetary brain and key points in the planet's consciousness layers, which again is the planetary aura and its demographic area Stargate system. The gradual flow of the Krystal Current is being circulated throughout multiple layers of the complex planetary neural network. This is also known as the nadial network. The combined frequency tones that generate the crystal current, called interdimensional resonators, make up the Merkabic geometry patterns of the crystal star. These sets of Merkabic geometries hold mathematical patterns that reset the entire planetary grid structure into Trinitized energy formats. This must happen slowly and gradually to support the transition of all biological life on Earth as safely as possible. Many of us are the planetary acupuncture points of frequency, and as our body resonates to these new frequency tone patterns, we are undergoing a major biological upgrade. The recalibration process to the Krystal Current has begun a series of extremely deep cellular changes that impact our physical and multidimensional bodies dramatically. Generating cycle. At this time, our planet begins a newly seeded ascension timeline, enhanced with massive creative and destructive forces, which is a part of the beginning of the natural cycle required to move to the next phase of planetary evolution. In order to begin the cycle of generating the balance forces required to build these new creations, we will experience the destruction of the old paradigm and its structures. This will be observed in every possible permutation of our existence, our personal lives, and in the world at large. Many bloated governments and corporatocracies will not be able to exploit groups of people in the ways that made them hugely financially successful in the past. The material platforms that made it possible energetically to do so are starting to dissolve, and these structures will sink along with it. More people will decide to find their courage and solidarity to finally join with each other, to find better resolutions beyond these control structures. This is a part of the inspiration of humanity's inner spirit, influencing group consciousness and community awareness that generates the momentum to solve the serious issues that humanity faces. This means many more potentially shocking revelations are to come to the masses, which require looking behind the controller facade in order to see what has been hidden. This forces human transformation into a forward progression amidst the chaos of these crumbling structures. As the momentum of great change accelerates, it requires both adaptability and flexibility to let go of the past behaviors, their beliefs, and their patterns. The spirit has the intelligence to know which pathway to follow, while the undisciplined ego and its mind may lock down in fear, which creates confusion. We are experiencing both a death cycle and a birth cycle simultaneously that is propelling us forward into the next platform of our spiritual growth. This is a time of generating new energetic structures and new material structures on the planet that are truly based in the balance of the Trinity that exists between these energies. Some of us are feeling an incredible relief from recent changes that free us up to move and explore in new directions. Many heavy burdens have been lifted from the past, yet many of us are standing in front of a massive change of nothingness. We can feel the shifting sands, while at the same time there may be a sensation of vast nothingness before you. This is the process of becoming empty and is not to be feared. This change includes a deep recalibration of our bodies, which may be intensely physical, mental, or emotional. These changes can be embraced or feared depending on one's willingness to adapt, and this will dictate the intensity of the experience we have as we move forward. Inner alchemy. Ancient wisdom texts have long spoken about the essential trinity of energies, of which are required to sustain human life, and further, how they define our cycles of relationship to the planet and to the cosmos. The attainment of inner alchemy between these internal trinity of energies is what leads to the embodiment of our inner spiritual light. These energies work within a trinity of unity. When we bring our being into inner energetic balance, only then we are naturally capable of its inner alchemy. Our recalibration process is including the eventual inner alchemy of these forces that are newly present on the earth. Therefore, the events in December 2012 have made this process of inner alchemy possible for humanity for the first time on this planet. Ancient esoteric studies have given pieces of this wisdom throughout many rigorous studies, exercises, meditations, and many years of devoted discipline to achieve alchemy. In many cases, these techniques and their principles were studied in secrecy for many lifetimes to finally achieve spiritual liberation. Our planetary consciousness cycle is requiring that we move from the esoteric doctrine, that which is hidden, to the exoteric doctrine, that which is made public. As such, the reflection in the macrocosm will show more of our inner to the outer world, and we will observe this in others in our environment. We will see what things are really made of. Less will remain hidden, and humanity will begin to realize the larger picture that interconnects all relationships and all causation of events. Previous alchemy studies would attempt to use external substances, objects, elixir, or medicines to activate the inner alchemical process from outer stimuli. Some of the history of this outer alchemy came at an expense to which damage was incurred that distorted the original DNA pattern. The real inner alchemy is recognizing that by working with the energies that are already present in the human body, this is the organic alchemy process of our spirit, as opposed to using any substance from outside of the body. This inner alchemy is becoming possible at this time as a natural part of the biological process of spiritual ascension. With this, the human body becomes the holy sepulchre, or cauldron, of which houses the trinity of energies that cultivate superior health and balance between the body, emotions, mind, and spirit. When perfect energetic balance, or the kinship of the three, unites through the inner alchemy between these energies, all aspects of the multidimensional being return to the oneness. Ultimately, as we return to the primordial unity of the God Source, we are then resurrected into our eternal body through the eternal light of God. The internal Trinity, or the three treasures. At the end of the cycle in December, our planet began to receive the quintessence of the Universal Mother, the cosmic ether element, which is the substance which sparks and animates the terrestrial matter of elemental life alchemically. This cosmic ether is transmuting the elements of our earth as well as the elementals of our fleshly body. The application of Mother's quintessence to the DNA elements of physical matter is the beginning of the alchemical rising of the inner Christos. There are tangible externalizations as the result of this element being introduced to the planetary energy body, which had not been introduced before. The quintessence is alchemically changing the internal trinity of energies and how these energies reside within the human body and flesh. Most of us did not have these energies or qualities cultivated or developed from this last cycle, which was defined as vampirism and consumptive modeling. During this time, our bodies are undergoing many changes in order to accommodate this internal trinity of energies, which eventually lead to our inner energetic balance and thus sacred union. The internal trinity, or three treasures, consist of vital essence, known as Jing, breath life force, which is Qi, and God's Spirit, which is Shen. Jing is the nutritive essence, refined, perfected, the extract, the spirit, demon, sperm, or seed. Qi is known as the vitality, the energy, force, air, vapor, breath, current, vigor, and attitude. Shen is known as the spirit, soul, intelligence, God, deity, monad, and supernatural being. The internal trinity becomes one. To balance and unify the internal trinity of energies, it is necessary to focus on unity in one's life and in one's body. When we see unity, it is when we conduct our life through understanding that we are interconnected with all things in every way. The internal trinity of energies makes up all life and everything that exists. Each of us is able to understand and practice this inner alchemy on our own by following the guidance of balancing our inner spiritual energies. As we inquire to the areas where we can bring balance between these energies, we are guided to get rid of harmful blockages so that the body's energetic balance can be restored. Many of us have blockages or leakages in one or all of these internal energies. We are entering a time where these blockages will require to be cleared to generate our newly sustained body built through the nourishing balance of these energies. The Mother's quintessence is accelerating and supporting this process in our fleshly bodies through the activation of these internal trinity of energies. In turn, the Krystal Current tones are re-encrypting the elemental record of the fleshly body systems. It is the time to become aware of these energies as consciously operating the intelligence in one's body. The vital essence, or gene, corresponds to the energies of the physical body. The conserving of gene or essence in the body is heavily focused on the capacity of the internal alchemy process. If we abuse our physical body and leak energies, then internal alchemy is not possible. The natural laws are one of conservation. So as we conserve and use our physical energies efficiently and wisely, it nourishes the other two energy relationships. This is why many of us during the spiritual ascension process will find ourselves silent, still, sleeping, or conserving physical energy. Our bodies, muscles, and parts need to learn how to become extremely relaxed, to allow inner energies to move throughout the bodily systems. This essence is stored in the kidneys and relates to the etheric imprint that carries our DNA record and stores its karmic history in our bloodstream. When we are stressed out, using addictive substances, getting little rest or sleep, abusing our sexual life, our bodily essence is drained. As we seek balance within our body, we balance our vital essence contained in the body, and this supports the internal trinity becoming unity. When we discipline ourselves to bring balance to our body and relaxation to the mind through the clearing of negative ego, the spirit, or Shen, takes over its functions through the Jing body essence, and this is highly desirable. The breath life force, or Qi, is defined as the natural energy of the universe and can be found in everything. It is that which animates the movement of a form. Qi has many different colors and frequency levels which determine its energetic quality. However, as we consciously participate with obtaining a positive flow of Qi in our body, this life force flows through the body in paths moving to each individual organ and throughout the many layers of the physical body matrix. We can build or gather Qi life force through breath work, chakra focus, mental concentration, group intention, martial arts, or meditation. By understanding its color, rhythm, and flow, one can gather or direct life force, Qi, for positive effects. As we become in tune with the energy flow and the colors around us, we do not push against the flow. Therefore, we sustain much more life force for our personal use. We cease to require energies from other things and people. As we learn to sustain our life force, we evolve to undergo biological spiritual expansion of embodying these colored energies and their frequencies. If we leak or deplete ourselves of life force, we stagnate and constrict our multidimensional bodies into blockages. These blockages are then used by negative forces, which cleave on to harvest those dense energies. In the beginning stages of Kundalini awakening, we are interconnected to the lower levels of planetary ki, which is a finite energy source. As we balance the internal trinity, we expand to the universal ki, and our light body is nourished by cosmic energies. The quality and frequency of the life force becomes increasingly higher and refined. The quality of Krystal Current life force is a much more refined and higher frequency than the lower base tone energies of first phase planetary Kundalini awakening. Through being in balance with the movement of ki life force, not using force, ridding oneself of parasites and leakages, the spirit, or Shen, take over its functions in the multidimensional body. Having given the spirit, or Shen, full control over the aspects of the multidimensional bodies, physically, emotionally, and mentally, is the pathway to full inner alchemy and spiritual liberation. The God Spirit, Shen, is the original spirit of the body. We define original spirit in order to establish there are possessing lower spirits that can attach to the human body and attempt to control it. The goal is to establish single one spirit occupancy within the body. This is one's original God Spirit. At this time, we can acknowledge that all that happens in the body is ultimately sourcing from the relationship we have to our God Spirit. If we do not know ourselves, then we do not know our original spirit. One cannot know God's Spirit until knowing themselves through becoming self-aware. Through meditation, prayer, and heart-focused inspiration, we can become conscious of our original God Spirit, or Shen. Our spirit access is through our heart, comprises our nervous system, and when embodied, resides in the seat of our being, the Hara complex. The balance and health of our original spirit in matter relies on the balance of the body essence and life force. One of the three cannot exist without the other. Our spirit energies are an intelligence that comprises many complex levels of our multidimensional being. Our God Spirit energies descending into our body is ultimately the meaning of consciousness. The consciousness intelligence of our original spirit overrides the lower ego mental body. We embody consciousness at the varying levels when we embody our spirit body intelligence at various levels. The embodiment of our one God Spirit intelligence bodies is a biological, energetic expansion and evolution process called spiritual ascension. This means our auric body and its energies expand to encompass more layers of the planetary, galactic, and universal fields of multidimensional consciousness until achieving oneness. The process of spiritual ascension is the natural and organic process of biological evolution for every living thing. This opportunity has returned to this planet through the crystal hosting and begins a cycle of planetary and human bodily transmutation. Reconnecting body parts to one God Spirit. Additionally, our physical body parts can have varying degrees of embodied spiritual intelligence. Ultimately, our goal is to reconnect every body part, every organ, every gland, and all cellular tissue to be reconnected fully to our one God Spirit energies. These energies are intelligent and will change the function of our body parts. The body parts have increased functions when being fully operated by our original spirit and holding higher dimensional frequencies. Much of this is unknown to current science at this time. We are undergoing a change in our physical body parts that will manifest many different anomalies to the medical system. Many body parts and organs were not operating as they were designed to function because of alien machinery and alien implants. These inorganic energies and their imprints and residue will continue to require clearing and re-encryption through the crystal host to be able to run the internal trinity of energies properly. Some of us have begun this process now through the recalibration of physical reconnections, which are deeply impacting layers of the following bodily matrices: the skeletal, cranium, and bone matrix, the muscle and ligament matrix, the circulatory and lymphatic system matrix, the organ and endocrine system matrix, the immunity matrix and blood chemistry matrix, the brain systems, central nervous systems matrices, the epidermal layers, skin, hair, and nails. All of these layers are ultimately associated to the energetic intelligence held within our one God Spirit body. It is suggested to request one God Spirit to reconnect all body parts and body intelligence matrices to the control of your original spirit. This will begin to activate the inner alchemy process. When we reach inner energetic balance to unify the internal trinity of energies, our spirit, monad, will take over the functions of these matrices to correct the systems they operate. All of these bodily energetic matrices have been impacted, implanted, or damaged by alien machinery. Once we are aligned, our spiritual intelligence will repattern and override these inorganic energies to correction through reconnection and re-encryption. Depending on one's unique energetic signature and ascension pathway will determine how involved one will be asked to observe and carry out this process. Starseeds that are ascension prototypes and building templates will have a much more detailed regime than another person without that particular mission. This group may have been undergoing dramatic or specific regimes to begin the bodily recalibration process at this time. This means a schedule of cleansing, purification, fasting, sleeping, session, or bodywork. Some of us may experience this physical reconnection and recalibration in more detail in the coming months. The crystal tone pattern is a trinitized wave format which overrides the bipolar geometries and reversal energy systems in our bodies and in the planet. The internal trinity of energies becomes unity or oneness. The main elements organ soul. The God Spirit is both a singular concept and a plural concept to describe its energetic reality. In a plural concept of our God Spirit, our bodily organs are a part of that spirit, yet each have their own soul. Each organ soul has a purpose, intelligence, and function to contribute to the overall whole of a healthy and balanced body. When a body part cannot contribute its purpose, it can also become depressed. When it's depressed or blocked, it can become sick. All living things desire to be in their highest creative expression of spirit, even one's bodily organs. This means there is a spiritual energetic intelligence that can be communicated with as a part of your body functions and organ systems. This will become increasingly obvious as we evolve in this future cycle. Each soul blueprint of the main organs also holds an imprint of the elemental instruction set to activate that particular DNA code element in the body. So this means that the organ's health and happiness will contribute its energetic intelligence to build, activate, and merge the elemental base of the chemical lens existing inside the DNA of your body. Through the cosmic ether returning to the earth, the base elemental consciousness units are undergoing transmutation. This is a long-term process of planetary change. This means the elemental consciousness units on the earth and the elemental units that make up our own physical body are undergoing transformation. The re-encryption process of the elemental consciousness units are being overseen by the Aurora Host projects. The Aurora Elemental Consciousness Units are a part of the re-encryption of the base elementals on planet to ensure that spiritual ascension timeline manifests. The elements, air, water, fire, earth, and now cosmic ether, are the consciousness units that make up the elemental or physical body and the body's substance of the earth. This transmutation of elements is required to activate many new levels of spirit soul essence into embodied physical matter. This is akin to the reanimation of souls in a way we had not existed with previously. One such change is realizing our body parts have a soul intelligence of their own that is a part of our original spirit self. These body organ tissues are directly animated by the elemental substance and undergo process of transmutation to hold the soul intelligence as well as the internal trinity of energies pattern. These biological upgrades are beginning now to be experienced as deep changes in our bodily organs and blood. This is a part of the inner alchemy also being experienced by bringing the elementals in our body into unity with each other. We can directly communicate with the intelligence of the soul of our main organs to bridge their reconnection, as well as ask them what they may need from us. The heart soul represents fire element, communicates and links to the God Spirit, is the ruler of the body, and controls the balance between all of the other organ systems and the hormonal systems. When we reach into the quiet place of our heart, we commune with God's Spirit and receive guidance. When we are centered in our heart with quiet awareness and loving kindness, harmony is created in our being at all levels: spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. In this way, we affect our own well-being and positively influence the well-being of all around us. If we take a look at the doctrine of Confucius, the guidelines are: do not will, do not strive, do not be inflexible, do not be egotistical, do not be self-righteous, do not expect things, and do not force things. We see that the art of nourishing the heart had already been fully understood during the ancient times. Even though the ancient masters never said much about medicine, they certainly understood how to nourish the heart soul. The heart generates the largest electromagnetic field in the body, thousands of times stronger than that produced by the brain. The energy field generated by the heart permeates every cell and acts as a synchronizing frequency for the entire body. The counterpart to the heart soul is the small intestine. The kidney soul represents water element and is the repository for circulating vital essence and the center which manages the bodily fluids. If not following the heart spirit, but controlled by the mind, the kidney becomes gripped in fear. Intense or prolonged fear, the emotion associated with the kidney, will cause injury to the kidney soul. The other way around, a physical deficiency of kidney essence can cause a disposition for panic attacks and fearful behavior. A society that promotes sexual addiction and fear is designed to remove the personal willpower by first stealing the kidney soul essence from the unaware person. Once the kidney has relinquished its control over the bodily essence from fear, addiction sets within the energetic center. The path to control the heart and nervous system is near, which is a possession of the soul. Clearing fear and addictions greatly support the health of the kidney soul. The counterpart to the kidney is the urinary bladder. The spleen soul represents the earth element. The spleen has been impaled with an alien crucifixion implant and is undergoing rehabilitation in order to function in its true soul. It holds the earth element, and its function is relevant to the liberation of planet Earth. The spleen's higher function is to infuse our blood with spiritual light, the tones of our crystal keys. As our blood purifies into crystal waters, the heart, soul, and body is purified into the house of God where Christ can dwell. When healthy and functioning, the spleen soul purifies the blood of miasma and karmic record. It is the piercing of Christ's body with the spear of destiny that recorded this alien implant in the spleen. It symbolizes the tainting of the blood of Christ to a destiny of karmic redemption. Those who wanted to control the world as false gods, control the laws of God governing humanity, were to defile this symbolic artifact through bloodlust ritual. Continued bloodshed on the earth maintained the crucifixion of the Christ, specifically the spleen implant, which existed as the redemptive vehicle for others' karmic actions upon the earth. This meant the perpetrator of karmic transgressions would superimpose his will upon others by recording it in their blood. This superimposed manipulation of others' energies is ending on earth now through the return to rightful owner. All is recorded in the body and the spleen. Within the spleen exists the map of the elemental body, which is the blueprint of our etheric body. The spleen tells the pancreas what the stomach is required to digest. The spleen's counterpart is the stomach. The lung soul, or ether, is where all bodily life force has its physical origin in the lung. If the lung's key is clear and straightforward, then there is not a single type of life force in the body that will not obey and flow along smoothly. The large intestine is the bowel associated with the lung. Both the lungs and large intestine will harbor grief or blockages from a refusal to let go of the past, from regrets or pain. Both bodily areas will harbor ancestral attachments that have remained as unresolved emotional conflicts. Resolving these emotional conflicts, primarily grief and sadness, will free the lung soul. To move forward into transformation with the ease of feeling supported by spirit requires the development of the ease of the breath. Taking deep abdominal breaths opens the lung-soul gateway to support embodied knowing and the ability to move on from deep and painful patterns. When the lung-soul energies are not protected with appropriate boundaries, it produces an extreme sensitivity to outer influences on a psychic level. This is an example of understanding breathing room and the requirement of personal space. As an example, without enough breathing room, other people's negativity gets in without awareness and creates bodily disturbances such as digestive upsets and headache. Without creating boundaries to protect the lung soul and giving yourself breathing room, this creates the feeling of being invaded and overwhelmed by people and events. Taking the time to create breathing room, personal space, breath work, meditation, and quiet time will support the protection and development of the lung soul. The lung soul counterpart is the large intestine. The liver soul represents the air element. The liver is the organ that is in charge of storing and reading the blood. If a person moves around in a waking state, then the blood is distributed throughout the body. If a person rests, the blood returns to the liver. The liver soul is the seat of spiritual purpose, and it gives the ability to discern our path, stay clear in our direction, and be true to ourselves. When the liver soul is disturbed, people often feel angry and experience life as one injustice after another. When the spiritual purpose is not being expressed, the liver will become depressed. Heavy ancestral karmic patterns left unresolved are attached to the seat of spiritual purpose, which resides in the liver soul. Anger outbursts are poison and dry up the liver and the blood. Ancestral clearing and releasing fragments and attachments relieve the liver soul of its burden. It is crucial to clear the body and mind of toxic substances and to recognize alcohol and mind-altering drugs as the potent soul-disturbing influences they are. Letting go of these self-destructive behaviors, such as anger, as well as liver cleansing with tonifying herbs, are extremely potent ways to heal. The liver's counterpart is the gallbladder. All of the organ souls are female principal energy and desire to work with their counterpart organ first. This is to create the balance of itself and its higher functions as manifested in pairs of opposite energies. All creation is based on gender pairing, and it is the same for our bodily organ system. As we balance our internal energies, we are bringing sacred marriage between our own bodily organs. Our body is recalibrating to become in balance between the gender pairs. We are entering a time where the emphasis of sacred union is now upon the internal body parts. Troubled planetary grids. As many of us are experiencing deep internal change from these frequency shifts, there are the external contingents that are resisting these changes by refusing to adapt. These are the usual divide and conquer tactics of the negative alien agenda to continue to split apart the energetic balancing of gender pairs. These groups are clearly hostile when it comes to having to give up this peace. Controlling sexuality through the gender distortions and enforcing these schisms through abuse have yielded them control over the planet and humanity. In certain areas, use of alien technology to disrupt the energy field, create electromagnetic fields and other frequency disturbances have been in aggressive usage. Setting your calm and protective space with 12th-dimensional shielding will bring support in these areas. Disruptions in the Michael-Mary harnesses and their related grid networks, such as what is referred to as the Cathar lines, have been in troubled conflicts in the planetary body. These ley lines hold embedded traumatic memories that are relevant to the distortions in the hologram of the king and queen archetypes and the sacred marriage between the masculine and feminine energies. Many unrevealed histories of unresolved war trauma and their genocide between humanity and the planetary invasion were used to split apart sacred marriage, defile the mother and Christ consciousness, and promote sexual misery programs to the human race. These are the old Vesica Pisces programs using bipolar geometry, which is attached to the grids of Jesus and Magdalene, Michael and Mary, Cathar and Essene lines where the fleur-de-lis implants are that lead into Quebec and Calgary, as well as the Rose lines and St. Michael lines in the United Kingdom. These areas have been surfacing painful memories of planetary trauma into the energy field, which include spiritual energetic fragments, attachments, and soul bodies. These are the causation memories of the many historical events which led to the mutation of the female and male union and their archetypal identities due to multiple tragic events. The energetic result may cause sympathies to the gender and sex organs if we are sensitive and a part of these lineages or feel connected to these archetypes. Many people and entities have been erupted and displaced from out of these spaces in the grid. These grids are the Michael Mary Black Heart Circuitry in Calgary, the St. Michael Lines in the Southwest and Gloucestershire, United Kingdom, the Fleur-de-Lis Network on the Cathar Lines in Quebec to south of France, the Rose Line in North Scotland to South Britain. May we hold our heartfelt prayers of the Krystal Current and Mother's pure divine love to free all beings into the eternal light that have been sacrificed on these grid lines in order to enforce these gender distortions. Through these human histories of pain, may we witness them to one truth to absolve all beings of this burden. May we hold the truth in our heart, the knowing that we are returning to energetic balance. We are uniting our masculine and feminine in the divine perfection made possible through the return of the crystal star. May the perfection of these blessings of God sovereign free be sent to all of these beloved beings on planet now. Stay in the luminosity of your avatar heart path, and may your body and being recalibrate into the eternal living light. With love, thank you so much.